Didn't want you to go home empty-handed. Everybody get some? Yeah.
Okay, I guess we're about ready. Everybody ready down there? Good.
Another 15 seconds.
If I had been paying attention, I would have spoken to you when you came in. I'm so sorry. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Asheboro City Council meeting for Thursday, April 4th. I would like to start with inviting you to stand with me and take a moment of silent meditation, and then we'll follow that with the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First order of business would be to call on our newly appointed police chief, Robbie Brown, and ask him to come up and bring retiree Paul Manus with him. He has a bittersweet duty to perform.
Paul, what I'd like to do, would like to present this plaque to you. It reads, present to Anthony Paul Manus, Master Police Officer, in appreciation for dedicated service in the police department and dedication to the city of Asheboro, 9/13/1996 through 3/31 of 2024. We want to thank you for the service that you provided to not only us, but the citizens of Asheboro, and also like to present you with your with your gun that you carry.
I'd just like to say thank you, Chief, for this, and council for your faith in me through the years, Chief and past administration, for the opportunity to serve at the police department. I enjoyed my time, all the opportunities that I was given through the years for the different jobs and that I performed there, and it is kind of a bittersweet moment, leaving a job behind that I've done for 32 years, 27 and a half of them here at Asheboro, and but I'm looking forward to what my future has for me, and just looking forward to taking some time for me for a little while. But thank you, everyone, for all the opportunities I've been given.
I'd like to add that over the years, Master Police Officer Manus had been my go-to guy. He talked me into teaching one of his, was that Care or Dare?
There, yes, sir.
And I was scared to death around those kids. But he got me through it, never invited me back. But no, Paul's done a good job for us, and we wish you the best. He is going to get in his car in the next day or so and head west to his ambition in this first week of retirement is to see the eclipse.
All right, all right.
So I wish I was going with you. But,
Gotta live and see.
best wishes to you, and I hope that your retirement is everything you want it to be and then some. Thank you.
Thank you.
If I can add, at our Kiwanis board meeting the other night, they mentioned how thankful they were that you have helped with parking for so many years. And they were all a little sad that you were retiring. So we think maybe you'd be a good Kiwanis member and parking at Pancake Day. So thank you for all you do.
I would enjoy that.
Okay, another little bit of bittersweet, business. We'd like to call on, Amy Rudisell from the Asheboro Randolph Chamber of Commerce. And, I'll come around there, Amy. Amy has, after 29 years of service to the chamber and our community through the chamber, has taken another job, and, I remember when you were hired, and I believe you were about this tall. You have really grown, in the job, you've grown in your abilities, and you have represented the chamber, the city, and Randolph County very, very well over the years. And it's our pleasure tonight, on behalf of the city of Asheboro, to present you with a plaque that has the city logo on it. It says Asheboro Pride Award, presented to Amy Roots for outstanding service to the citizens of Asheboro. And this, today's date, and, she certainly deserves it. She has been another one of my go-to people. How many times have I called you and asked for a phone number?
Yeah.
All the time. All the time. And, her daughter and her husband are here, and we'd like to get you in the picture if y'all wanna. We can do 2 or 3.
We'll take a couple steps, that way the window glare is.
This won't fly me.
There we go.
Here's your plaque. Get the important people around here.
Much better.
We are so proud of you and thankful that you, chose to come to work for George Gusser a long, long time ago, 29 years ago. And now we want a picture with just the 2. The 2 important people.
I won't charge extra.
Thank you so much, I appreciate it.
Amy has, taken the job with Randolph County as their new public information officer. So she will be right out front, just like she always has been. And, but knowing that she's not right around the corner, the change is gonna be a little different. So,
I'll still be around, but I appreciate the many years of being able to work for the chamber and for the members, and it's my honor to do it, and I'll be, doing the same for the county as well, so thank you so much.
I can have y'all here. And I know your daughter wants to leave. If y'all are ready to go. I'm not rushing you out, but, she did not want to be.
Just stay out there and do the next one.
What?
Just stay out there and do the next one. Stay out there.
Oh, okay, well. It is, once again, my pleasure to stand up in front of you and call on Addie Corder. Addie is our 1 year now,
Here's some change.
1 year and change, give or take, the director of Downtown Asheboro Incorporated, and, has done a phenomenal job in her first year. We expect great things out of Addie. She's already proven to be, terrific hire and is doing many, many things to promote Asheboro and downtown Asheboro. And, if you paid for that restaurant over, I'd be real happy.
One thing at a time.
All right, so, go ahead.
So I got to attend the North Carolina Main Street Conference in Goldsboro last month and represent Asheboro. We were one of 80 communities in attendance as recognized Main Street communities. And I also had the distinct pleasure of submitting the Church Street Lofts for a Main Street Award of Merit for Best Adaptive Reuse Project.
Which is the building next door.
Yes, yeah.
The old Acme building right next door to City Hall here has been converted. Go ahead and tell them.
It was formerly mill number 2, and it has been rehabilitated into 50 senior adult apartments with connectivity to the Randolph Senior Adults Association. And so when they're selecting awards-worthy projects, they're looking for projects that paid special attention to preserving the historic character of the structure, projects that were innovative and had strategic partnerships. And so I was not shocked at all when Asheboro was the one to receive this award. So it is my honor on behalf of Downtown Asheboro's Board of Directors to present the City of Asheboro, Landmark Development, Randolph Senior Adults Association, Dunn and Dalton Architects, K&W Builders, and Fernbach History Services for your award of merit.
So,
I don't know who to look at.
Eddie's doing a great job. Now, Kelly did ride down to, Goldsboro for the award ceremony, and I was going with her, and at the last minute, didn't feel like I should be doing that, so I didn't go, and I regret not being there, but, to have a project, in all of the state of North Carolina named Best Adaptive Reuse. And if you've never been in this building over here, you should try to get an opportunity to go in there. It's very unique in that it is a mushroom cap column construction. And what that allows is that the columns on the first floor go up and mushroom out so they pour a concrete second floor. And most buildings of that age were wooden second floors. So mushroom cap column building. And I learned that from Heather when she did my project.
She's the best of the best.
Heather Fernbach History Services is one of the best. So, and we worked with her before, and I hope we'll work with her again. So, thank you, and do you have something else you'd like to?
I do.
Okay.
So another thing that we like to do every year is to recognize someone who is an integral part to the support and prosperity of not only downtown Asheboro, but our Main Street program. And so the Downtown Asheboro Board deliberated, and there was one name that they all felt was appropriate to recognize as Asheboro's Main Street champion of this year, and that is John Ogburn. I could probably stand up here for a while and tell you guys all the things John has done for downtown, but I think you probably have a long night on your agenda. So to really just sum it up, Downtown Asheboro's Board of Directors are so grateful to have you as a partner, a visionary, and someone who will get in there with us and help us figure out how to make our dreams happen. We are so grateful for the downtown district that we have, and we know it is because of your support.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations, John. Well deserved.
Yes, it's a team. I'm just lucky enough to be the quarterback.
All right, moving on our agenda, I'd like to call on Amber Scarlett with the Randolph County Tourism Development Authority, and another partner that does a super job for us in the city of Asheboro, for Randolph County, and everything promoting Randolph County. So, good to have you here tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for having me tonight. On behalf of the Randolph County Tourism Development Authority, I'd like to present to you our 2022 annual report. I understand there's questions about that timeline. We do not receive annual numbers until August of the following year. So I look forward to coming back to you all in January of '25 for my '23 report. I know it sounds strange. I'm thankful to have one of my board members here. Ross Holt is one of our TDA board members. And my presentation and my presence here is way long overdue, so thank you for having me today. All right, Trevor, what do I do? Right, okay. So celebrating our success of 2022. And I contacted my dear friend Addie and I said, I've got 10 pages of notes. She said, cut it in half. So this is an abbreviated presentation. You do have the full booklet in front of you that has a lot of more details than I'm going to share with you tonight. We all want to know what the economic impact is. So U.S. Travel Association shared with us that domestic and international on a national level, $1.2 trillion in visitor spending. And that's an economic footprint of $2.6 trillion. That's a return to 2019 levels. Visit North Carolina, domestic and international travel spending, $33.3 billion, and that's a 15% increase from 2021. Here in Randolph County, domestic and international travel, $178.63 million, and that's 4% from 2021. Each county resident saves $86.20. That was in 2022. The number's going to increase for 2023. $86.20 because of those tax dollars coming in from visitors. Some other information about Randolph County numbers. We were able to support 1,130 direct tourism jobs in Randolph County because of tourism. And that was $42 million in payroll income. So occupancy tax and visitation. I know some of you are interested in this because of our recent facilities that have opened up. These are numbers again from 2022. Our occupancy tax reported at $1,343,329.70. My finance officer is Will Massey, so of course we're going to announce every single cent of that money. That's an increase of 16% from 2021. The occupancy, and that's at all of our properties across the county. That's at bed and breakfast, that's at hotels, it's at structures on campgrounds. 55.9%, and that was a 3.2% increase from 2021. Our average daily rate, $101.82, and that's an increase from 20.2% of 2021. Destination data, where are these visitors coming from? How many visitors do we have? Each year our team surveys our attractions, and this is a calendar year, so it's going to be January 22 to December 22. 29 attractions reported, 1,427,241 visitors, an increase of 9% from 2021. Our visitors came from North Carolina, of course, South Carolina, Florida, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Ohio, Indiana, Georgia, and New York. Within North Carolina, we saw visitors from the Triangle, the Triad, Charlotte metro area, Wilmington coastal area, and the Sandhills. We did have international requests. Now keep in mind, 21, we're still coming off the international travel ban. We had requests come in from Canada, Algeria, United Kingdom, India, Indonesia, France, Russia, and Spain. We also operate the visitor centers in Seagrove, and that's in a partnership with North Carolina DOT. We've operated those since 2020. We have 10 employees down there, 9 are part-time, 1 full-time. We operate both sides, 6 days a week. Our visitor centers team assisted 63,988 visitors in 2022, an increase of 6%. And I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm glad y'all are sitting down. We greeted 109,000 visitors in 2023, and that was a 71% increase from 2022.
Wow.
Yeah. Distribution of our travel guide, our official travel guide you have in front of you, the 2024 version. We distributed 30,500 of those at the visitor centers. Keeping in mind, those visitor centers are spots that might be the only stop someone stops in North Carolina. It might be the only stop they stop in Randolph County. So it's really important we're able to plant that seed and and give them information about our area and its attractions. We also distribute the North Carolina State DOT road maps, 21,600 of those. People just still look for those maps. Distribution of the North Carolina travel guides, that has, of course, information from across the state of North Carolina, 14,400. We were able to host 4 events. Coming off of COVID, we couldn't have events. We had limited staff, we had limited hours of operation, limited operation abilities. But we were able to host the National Travel and Tourism Week in May, Operation Thank You, where we invite our first responders out to thank them and also to give them the knowledge that, hey, we've got people working down there, because in those visitor centers, it's very remote. Open house in November is always the weekend before Thanksgiving, correlating with the Pottery Festival weekend and the 12 Days of Christmas event, where we actually choose a visitor coming through and give them a pottery ornament, just to say thank you for coming by. So our marketing, social media, public relations, advertising. I always ask, and y'all don't have to answer, but thinking about where you find your travel inspiration. We are so fortunate that we have so many different demographics that we're trying to reach, that we are on social media. We are in print. We are in digital. We are in targeted newsletters. We're everywhere. So we were able to grow that digital presence and connectivity with our partners. Some of our partners are very, very active on social media, and we just feed off of each other. So we're pulling in their audience, they're pulling in our audience. Interaction and sharing with digital influencers. We've been fortunate enough to host some digital influencers, NC Tripping, if y'all follow any of that on TikTok or on social media, Facebook. I think she's on Instagram too. We've hosted her a couple of times in our area, so it's gotten great traction with the zoo, with Millstone Creek Orchards, various spots downtown, even Kersey Valley Attractions, she's been there in Archdale. Public relations, we work with DK Communications Group out of Charlotte. She was able to place, with the host journalists and digital influencers, 539,000 estimated online views of Randolph County, of Asheboro, of Archdale, Seagrove. The online placements were 63. Our print circulation, 956,000, and that had more than 6 million readers on those publications. Social media posts from those media hosts, 52 social shares of media stories, 22.83 thousand. TV segments, we were able to have 5 TV segments, 2 statewide in the Raleigh and the Triad markets. And we were able to feature 56 partners and small businesses throughout the county, which really means a lot to those partners. Our visual advertising, we work with Manor House Creative. We placed over 200 advertisements in print and digital for 2022. Hopefully some of you are subscribed to those publications, whether it's digital or print, and I hope you feel pride when you see those, and it really inspires you to share with your family and friends of what we have in Randolph County. We're really targeting the Triangle area, the Triad area, as well as statewide. In 2023 and 2024 moving forward, we are looking to expand those markets to the Virginia and South Carolina markets. We updated the Randolph County roadmap that the Chamber used tremendously. And we created a series of bucket list bookmarks for distribution at events, our visitor centers, and hotels. So, that was my annual report. And I also wanted to come tonight to share with you how we are able to support and partner with the city of Asheboro. We have worked closely with Taylor at Sunset Theater to help her in marketing events, whether it's in a radio ad or in a print publication of Our State magazine for a specific concert. We've worked closely with sponsorships with Pam at the Cultural and Recreation Department for the Bicentennial Summer Concert Series year over year. Most recently, the Rock in the Park Friday night concerts, we've been able to support Addie in that effort with sponsorship, as well as assisting with getting hotel rooms for those groups that come into town. The Southeastern Regional American Legion Tournament at the renovated McCrary Park, we help the pews with that. We give them a significant sponsorship, which I think has helped solidify that tournament in Randolph County over the years. And looking ahead, Zoo City Sportsplex tournaments, we've been working closely again with Cultural and Recreation Department with Ryan to find out when those tournaments are coming to town. We can share that with our hotels. We can share that with Addie so she can share that with her downtown merchants, because it's having a significant impact. I was able to pull some numbers together for y'all this morning. It was that very top sheet, because that was very important, to see that the November tournament, the very first tournament we hosted, what the increase in occupancy was for Randolph County and Asheboro. And those are just those 2 nights of that hotel weekend stay. Then I also pulled together the February, the most recent one that we had. So you guys can see what the impact is of that Zoo City Sportsplex. And that's just the soccer tournament, y'all. I didn't pull the football, I didn't pull the combines, I didn't pull any of that. That's just for those specified soccer tournaments. We're also looking forward to the North Carolina Zoo expansion, the impact it's gonna have to our hotels, to our businesses, and also partnering with Trevor and Justin with the North Asheboro Greenway project, because those trails are still very important to us. So I appreciate your time tonight. I was very, very brief. I look forward to working closely with any of you that have questions about what we do, why we do, how we do. My door is always open.
Thank you.
Thank you for the time.
Any questions for Amber?
Amber, when we host the Southeastern Regional American Legion Tournament, there are no rooms to be had that weekend, are there? I mean, they're all booked for the,
No, we need more hotels.
well, we're working on that too.
Yes.
We've had a couple of calls recently about a couple of people that are interested in building
Good.
another property or two. And I think that's gonna come together sooner rather than later, because the demand is there.
Absolutely.
Did you hear that Toyota grading workers were taking a lot of the local rooms?
And they continue to keep them. Whereas our previous construction workers would leave for the weekend and open it up for leisure. Well, Toyota, I understand, continues to have that room reserved. The workers may leave, or they might invite their families to come, but they don't come back. The rooms don't open back up for leisure travel, so.
I get a 3-day weekend every 6 weeks.
Do they leave though?
Most of them go home for.
But I think
during the
Toyota's
3 days.
keeping the rooms.
They keep the room because
Yeah.
it's talking about 3 days out of
6 weeks.
Yeah.
6
It's probably
weeks.
more hassle to reserve that room again, yeah. So
Some
the-
of them, they picked up a big job in Gastonia, so some of them still stay around even now.
Yeah, but the rooms don't go back in inventory to open up, so.
It's not
So
just here,
rooms
it's-
are a shortage right now, and I know, on these 2 soccer tournaments you've highlighted here, there were no rooms to be had in all of the Piedmont. Greensboro, Livingston, High Point, they were all taken.
And so we have this demand curve, but when the construction falls off at Toyota, it's gonna fall off. With these events, you can keep the demand curve up here, right?
Yes, absolutely, because there's opportunities to sell that sportsplex.
Yeah.
There's opportunities, once the ag center's built, to sell the space there, to have small meetings. You know, I say small, 300 to 500 people. You know, we can fill up hotels during the week.
And the zoo, the third.
Absolutely.
Continent in the zoo.
We have an asset here, a tourism asset here in Randolph that, there are only 2 in the country that are actually owned by the state. All the others are owned by municipalities, and that's probably beyond our scope. But, nobody else has got a zoo like that. And adding the third continent's just gonna be another boom time. And this continent is, I can tell you, this continent is shaping up to be better than the first 2, I think.
Yeah, we're excited.
Yeah. So, thank you so much.
Thank y'all for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the work you do.
Thank you for the support.
That doesn't work anymore. HR, would you stand up and just push the thermostat on the wall on the far right? Okay, Michael's got it.
Michael Clay's name is HR.
He's an HR wannabe.
All right, I'd like to call on Joey Johnson right now. For those of you who've never been to a council meeting, we spend the first little bit of time, with progress reports and updates and whatnot. Then we get down to some nuts and bolts, business. But, Joey is, Mr. Johnson here is the, deputy county manager, assistant county manager, and, he's gonna update us on the water sewer project,
A little bit, yes, sir.
or the
The Eastern Randolph Water and Sewer District is mostly what I'm here to speak about tonight. Yes, sir. Well, thank you.
pull the microphone.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you, Mayor, City Council, for allowing me a couple minutes on your agenda this evening. On behalf of the Board of Commissioners, I want to thank you for your continued collaboration on a variety of issues that we work with you on, and especially for taking on the task of the water line to Wolfspeed project. That's going to bring a lot of opportunity to not only the city of Asheboro, but to Eastern Randolph County as a whole, and the county is very appreciative of you taking on that burden. I'm here tonight to speak mostly about the Eastern Randolph Water and Sewer District. This district was created in 2007 to handle infrastructure, water and sewer infrastructure within Eastern Randolph County outside of municipal limits. This district is governed by the County Board of Commissioners. They sit as the governing board of that water and sewer district, and it has sat dormant since its creation in 2007. One, because there was no infrastructure within unincorporated areas. Two, because the county didn't have a whole lot of money to lay any infrastructure in unincorporated areas. But a lot of things have changed in the last couple of years. So that board has now been, or that district has now been activated. When the county commissioners approved the bylaws for this district back in February, they created an advisory board for this district. This advisory board is made up of members appointed by our municipal partners. I've been preaching this since November, that with this line on 64 and all the opportunities it'll bring for growth and providing good water and sewer services to citizens in Randolph County, it's going to take a collaborative effort between the county and all of our municipal partners. So I'm here tonight to speak a little bit about that board. This advisory board is meant to give a voice to all of our municipal partners in the decisions that this district will make going forward. And I'm here tonight to request that City Council appoint your appointee to that advisory board. And that's all I have. Happy to answer any questions. Any questions?
Any questions?
Mayor, when we started down this path, Mr. Johnson and former county manager, the other Mr. Johnson, and I and Michael, Ronnie, we got the thing going. We needed a point man to represent Asheboro in the eastern third of the county, and we used Councilmember Burks. So from a staff point of view, we think he'd continue to serve in that. If he would continue to serve as our point man, that would be
Got time
great.
for another meeting.
What's that?
You got time for this?
I got time. I'll make time for that. It was,
All right, I'll entertain a motion to appoint, Councilman Burks to the, Water Sewer Authority Advisory Board.
So move.
Have a, motion by Ms. Heath. Do I have a second? Second. Mr. Swears. Second is Mr. Swears. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Burks. You have another meeting.
well, thank you. I enjoyed our initial efforts doing that and heading things up and interacting with some of our constituents and people that we work with from other municipalities and counties and the state. That was a good experience for me, and I think it's a good experience for our whole county. I'm really looking forward to the growth that we're gonna have out that way. So if it's gonna be good for that part of the county, it's gonna be really good for Asheboro too. So we're happy
Absolutely.
to make that happen.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor, Council. I appreciate it. Have a good night.
Thank you, Joey.
And Mayor,
By the way, it's good to have you on board at the county.
I appreciate that.
And-
I'm happy to be there.
And I think since he last appeared, Mayor, Mr. Johnson now is a citizen of Asheboro, and he's newly married.
That's right.
Congratulations.
Congrats on both.
All right, I'm gone.
Get home.
Okay, April 18th is coming up, and it is designated nationwide as National Lineman Appreciation Day. I think you have in your packet a resolution recognizing that fact.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
And at this time, I'll entertain a motion to adopt that resolution by reference.
Mayor, as a former groundsman for 3 years for a summer job, I really appreciate the jobs that these linemen do in the treacherous conditions on which they work. So I will make a motion that we approve this resolution by reference.
I have a motion by Mr. Bell to approve by reference. Do I have a second?
As a consumer, I will second that.
And the second is Mr. Moffett. Discussion. By way of discussion, let me just, not to belabor the point, but we in Randolph are a little bit unique in that we have two major power providers. So we have probably a few more linemen than most. And if you've been hanging around Asheboro lately, you know that all these big white trucks from Lee Electric are in town replacing poles. Every pole with a big white X on it is due for replacement. They periodically inspect their poles at the ground line for termite damage or rot, and so that they'll mark one. And so Lee Electric's in here. We'd be in a world of trouble without the linemen that climb these poles and do this type of work. So, any discussion about this resolution?
I'll also note that the Randolph Electric Membership Corporation linemen are part of the #1 in America in service.
Yep.
Anything else? Okay, all in favor to adopt this, resolution by reference, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimously. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the appointed time, at each meeting, for public comment period. We open the floor, open the mic to, anyone in the room that would like to address the council on any items of city business or concern. So if you have something you'd like to address to the council, now is your opportunity. Is there anyone in the room that would like to speak to the council tonight during our public comment period? And let me clarify, if you're here for a zoning case, you will have that opportunity during the deliberation on that case. So now is not the right time to have that conversation, but if there's anyone in the room that would like to address the council on any items of concern or city business, step on up to the microphone. Okay, nobody's interested. All right, we will close the public comment period and move on to item 10, which is the consent agenda. And council, you all have in front of you a consent agenda. If there's any item on the consent agenda that you would like to remove for individual discussion or consideration, please make yourself known at this time.
Mayor, I don't want this item removed, but I just want to express thanks to David Gerald and Ann McLaughlin and Delilah Warner and Jean Isom for being willing to serve an additional 5 years on the redevelopment commission. That group does a great job, so I just thank them for their service.
Glad you picked up on that, Ms. Heath, thank you. Is there any other item that needs individual discussion? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as you have it in front of you.
Mayor, I'll move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I have a motion by Mr. Burks to approve the consent agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Heath. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Okay, motion to approve the consent agenda passes. Item 11, Mr. Nuttall, our Community Development Director. Item 11A is a legislative hearing, which I will open on an application to rezone the property located at western intersection of East Central Avenue and Willow Road. Go right ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a general rezoning request seeking to take this property from the R10 zoning district to another medium-density residential district, the R7.5 district. The application is filed by Mr. Brian Lucas on behalf of the representing the property owner. We're looking at one Randolph County parcel with this request, just under 1 acre in size. Property is currently undeveloped. This property, as the mayor said, is at the intersection of East Central Avenue at Willow Road. It's on the south side of Central there. So we zoom in onto this map. That property that's subject to the request this evening is identified by the letter A. All other properties bearing a letter on this map are considered adjoining properties and would have received a notice related to this hearing this evening. I do want to note for the record that this case has been properly noticed and advertised. The area of yellow zoning that you see on this map, and it's a little difficult to see, but there is a difference between that yellow R10 zoning, which is kind of on the upper left hand area of the map, and where you see R15 zoning. There is a distinction between those zoning districts. The subject property is already zoned R10. As you look to the south down Willow Road, it is zoned, that whole neighborhood in that area is zoned R15. And I'll highlight the difference between those districts here in a moment. This property is within the city limits. East Central Avenue is a state-maintained thoroughfare, while Willow Road is maintained by the city. Again, a general district request. We do not know or have specific development plans pertaining to a project, but we do know that the existing R10 is a moderate density residential zoning district. It does currently permit single and two-family construction. So today, the property could be developed with either single or two-family development. R7.5 is just a slightly more dense zoning district. So still single and two-family dwellings are permitted. The minimum lot size and the setbacks vary a little bit between those two districts. And up on the screen is a portion of Table 4-1 from the city zoning ordinance. You can see the differences between the R10 and the R7.5 there as it relates to minimum lot size for single family versus two-family or duplex construction. See that the required front yard setback is slightly different. The side yard setbacks are the same, and the rear yard setback is slightly less for the R7.5 district, which is requested here this evening. We'll note the surrounding area does include a mix of single-family residential uses. That includes what are two legal non-conforming manufactured home parks, one to the northeast of the parcel requested for rezoning and one to kind of southwest of the area. The land development plan, which offers guidance as it relates to rezoning requests, is intended to accommodate existing medium-density single-family residential neighborhoods, while also encouraging new neighborhoods of similar density to provide a greater sense of community. So as we look to the land development plan for guidance and the plan's designation of this for neighborhood residential development, that is the objective as stated by the plan. We did look at some scenarios, even though we don't have a specific development proposal in front of you. We did look at the possibility of division of the property under the current R10 zoning versus the potential for development under the R7.5. And we note that in the current district, it's likely that the property could be subdivided into 3 lots, 2 of which would be adequately sized for a duplex, and 1 would be adequately sized for a single-family home to result in a total of 5 dwellings. If the approval is granted here this evening, the potential is increased by 1 unit. You would instead potentially see 3 lots, each being developed with a duplex for a total of 6 units. So in essence, one of the things that an approval would do here this evening would be to authorize, in theory, an additional unit on this 1 acre. We look at the topographic and utilities map up on the screen. The site is very, very flat for the vast majority of the property. The city does have a sewer main that clips the northern portion of the property. You can see the location of city water lines that are those blue lines on this map. This is an aerial view of the area. As I mentioned, we have 2 manufactured home parks in the immediate vicinity of this property, one to the northeast and one just southwest of the parcel. And here is an oblique view, again, of the subject property at that intersection. Several photos. This is looking at the property from East Central Avenue at Willow. We're looking towards the property along East Central Avenue. This is looking east. Now we are on Willow Road, looking north back towards East Central, subject property at the left. Looking the other direction, south along Willow Road. Again, these are single-family dwellings. This neighborhood is zoned R15, which is different than the zoning even today of the subject parcel. So now looking east along East Central Avenue, just east of Willow, and now looking back west. As I said, this is a residential designation for this area according to the land development plan. It is slated for medium-density residential development. As we look at the goals and policies of the land development plan, we believe that there are 6 that tend to be supportive of the request, 2 that tend to be not supportive of the request. As we consider all factors, we note that, again, both the current and the requested districts could allow construction of both single and 2-family dwellings. This is a request that seeks a modest increase of density, as well as a slight reduction of setbacks that would be offered by the R7.5 district. Given the property's location on a state-maintained minor thoroughfare and its proximity to 2 legal non-conforming manufactured home parks, one of which is zoned commercial and could be redeveloped for commercial uses, in our view, this application is reasonable and approval would be appropriate. There is also RA6 high-density residential zoning within about 500 feet of the subject property, and that lends some degree of validity to an application seeking 1 additional unit. For those factors, we believe it's reasonable in application. Approval will be in the public's interest. The planning board heard this case also and sends this to you with a favorable recommendation. I'd be happy to answer questions. I know Mr. Lucas is in attendance as well.
Do you have any questions of Mr. Nuttall? This is a public hearing. Is anyone in the room that would like to address council on this request? Is the, letter we received from the resident, the nearby resident in the packet? Everybody received a letter from? Yes.
Yeah, we did.
Everybody received one and had a chance to read it?
Yeah.
All right, that's part, should be part of the record. I don't have one, sorry.
I was not aware the letter was sent.
Anybody have the letter?
I've got it.
Yeah.
And the letter was, for the letter was sent to the council.
To whom it may concern, it was dated March 20th, and then all of us were copied on it. I got it in the mail at home.
Yes.
Yeah, everything up to our home.
Yeah.
You wanna pass that to Jeff for the record, please?
Thank you, ma'am.
It's from a lady that lives nearby, and she's obviously opposed to the, request. So, and everybody got one, right? Everybody got one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And just for the record, Your Honor, this would be a problem if it was a quasi-judicial proceeding, but since this is a straight district, there's no procedural issue with this letter being distributed.
Okay. I'll entertain the wishes of the council.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that based on the, approved by consistency statement based on recommendation by staff and the planning board, and that we approve this rezoning as requested.
That's for the first action. Or is that both of them?
Both of them.
Both
Do them
actions.
one at a time.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Burks. Motion by Mr. Moffett, second by Mr. Burks. Discussion?
I realize there's not a plat or anything like that, and I realize that the developer's here. Any idea how you'll access the property?
Yes, I plan on coming in, one from East Central.
You need to come to the microphone and introduce yourself.
Mayor, City Council, Brian Lucas, 240 Spring Garden, Asheboro. Yes, there will be, there's gonna be 3 duplexes, and like it's already been said by Trevor, I can already build 2 duplexes and a single-family home. So I just wanna build 3 duplexes, and that's it. So we'll have, 2 driveways on Willow and 1 on East Central.
Good.
Any other questions of the applicant? While you're up here.
Mr. Lucas,
Yes, sir.
could you consider like a fence maybe on the back of that property or something like that? Because that's what this lady was concerned about, you know. Is there any way, I know we couldn't make it, but just consider something like that.
I apologize, Mr. Mayor, we can't get into discussion with conditions in the format this is in. I apologize for interrupting, but it has to go forward as a straight.
Not a
We're down the road.
negotiation. Any other questions? Council, what are your wishes?
Have a motion and a second.
Oh, we have a, okay. I could just get up here. I didn't call on you, did I?
Whatever y'all need, I'm here.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, thank you. Council, thank y'all very much. Appreciate you for everything so much.
All right, item 10B is, I'll open a legislative hearing on case number RZ 24-04. It's an application to rezone property at 853 East Salisbury Street.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an application to amend an existing conditional zoning district. In this instance, there is a site plan submitted that I've just distributed to the board. And for the record, this hearing has been properly noticed and advertised. We are looking at about 5.5 acres of existing conditional zoning, office and apartment zoning. The property's undeveloped. This may look familiar to you. For many of you, there was a recent request to put the property in a conditional zoning district, I believe probably last year. The applicant on this request is different than you heard from last year, but the plan is very similar. You'll see that there are 2 buildings proposed. They are 3-story in height, and the location and the layout of this property and development is very similar. The reason that we are back here this evening is because there's just enough of a deviation or a change from what the board previously reviewed and approved, and what the public saw and had an understanding of what was to be constructed. So in those instances, we need to bring this back and go through the process again, and that's why we're here this evening. I will tell you, this proposal actually is 1 unit less than what was previously authorized. On the screen and outlined in that in the blue boundary is that 5.5 acres of existing office conditional zoning, office and apartment. Again, subject properties identified by A1, A2, and A3, all adjoining property owners with a letter would have received a notification from both the city and the applicant. I'm not going to go through all of this verbatim because it is almost identical to one that we previously presented. I will note that one of the reasons that these changes were necessary was because of the Highway 42 project having a bit more of an impact to this property than I think was previously anticipated by the prior applicant, and therefore that has pushed improvements, namely parking improvements, further into the property. Again, we've 2 buildings, one with 22 units and a community room, another second building having 24 units. They are described as 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms. There is a recreational area presented on the plan, as well as a covered picnic area. It's important to note there is sidewalk construction proposed along with the project on Highway 42. That should extend the sidewalk construction that NCDOT will do as a part of the 42 widening. So this project would continue that construction. There is one deviation that we note from the city's predetermined land use regulations, and I believe it was a deviation was requested previously, and that's as it relates to recreational vehicle storage. Under the general terms of the ordinance, we look for whether there is storage provided for recreational vehicles with multifamily projects. Applicant has elected not to do that. But by condition, both in the staff and the applicant have worked on a condition that would prohibit recreational vehicle storage on the property in order to meet a similar intent. The land development plan already identifies this property for urban residential development. We have shared this updated development proposal with the city schools, NCDOT, as well as the U.S. Postal Service. We do expect that NCDOT will ask for the driveway to shift eastward, so away from the westernmost property to a more central location in the property. We've talked with the applicant on that. Other than changing that, the actual location of the driveway, we don't expect there to be significant resulting changes to the site plan, should the DOT, in fact, mandate that driveway shift eastward slightly. As we look at the topographic map, you can see the location of city services. The green is city-maintained sewer, the blue is city-maintained water. The property has some undulations to it. That'll have to be addressed during site design and construction. But this is a property that the city is able to serve and furnish public services to. This is an aerial map. Give you an idea of the development pattern in the area. Go through a few photos here. This is looking at the property from East Salisbury Street. Again, this is just west of the where East Salisbury Street and NC 42 split. And we're now looking west along East Salisbury Street, standing about at the subject property, looking east. We've now gone to Spring Street to give a vantage point from that adjacent street. This is a portion of the site plan that I've provided to you. That parking lot, primarily in the center of the property, is really the primary change that this plan is requesting. Previously, that parking lot was not in that vicinity. Most of the parking was able to be provided in front actually in front of both structures. DOT's project did require some additional parking to be provided at this location. I will note those areas identified by the blue cross-hatching along the boundaries of the property are the city required buffers and screens required between a multifamily project and a residential property. So there will be on portions of the property fencing provided along with landscaping. On other areas of the property, there will be what can be preserved in terms of trees will be preserved, and then there will be street landscaping installed to the city standards along the road frontage of the property. These are building elevations that are in the packet. We just wanted to present the look of the buildings. These are slightly different. I believe the prior design may have had more of a flat roof, if I'm not mistaken. So the building design is a little bit different. I believe there's actually more masonry accents with this design than the prior proposal. As we look for guidance to the city's land development plan, not surprisingly, we think there's 6 that tend to be supportive of this request. Again, we're reducing the number of units by 1 with this application. We do have some conditions proposed that we asked the council to consider attaching to an approval this evening. These, in essence, are intended to ensure that the project develops as is provided on the plan in accordance with the city's development standards. I'll be happy to go through any of those in detail. They have been shared with the applicant. Of note, I will say there is a stormwater control measure, and you will see a stormwater structure, or BMP, proposed on the project. That is something that was with the prior case and one that we asked to be carried forward with this application. Looking at the consistency statement, council previously having approved a similar conditional zoning district. We believe the evaluation on this should be whether the site plan continues to align with the city's objectives established by the adopted plan. We point out that this application continues to preserve ample open space. It does include a variety of types of amenities for residents. We believe the decorative architectural elements, the pedestrian improvements that are proposed to be a part of the project all show alignment with the city's plan. For those reasons, this gets a favorable recommendation from the staff as well as the planning board. And so we do recommend adoption of this ordinance here this evening. The applicant is represented as well here this evening.
Questions? I'm sorry. Questions from the council. I'll get to you in a minute, sorry. Anybody? All right, would the applicant's representative like to address council first?
Good evening, council. Thanks for having me today. Just a really quick presentation. I don't want to repeat too much of what Trevor said.
Is there a notepad up there, Trevor? I mean, place for her to sign.
Oh, yes.
If you'll print your name, I neglected to say that earlier. Anybody that speaks council needs to print your name, and that way we can transcribe the audio tape properly.
Got it. Okay, well, in the...
I could tell I couldn't spell your last name.
Just an introduction, I'm with Solstice Partners. My name is Tammy Stern. We're based in Cary, and we develop, and then our sister company builds, and we long-term own our apartment communities. So this would be the same. My boss, Kathy Connors, has been developing housing for 30 years across North Carolina. You know exactly what we're seeking tonight. Rezoning of the same kind of conditional zoning in place with a slight change in the plan you approved last year. Again, as Trevor said, future land use plan is for urban residential, so we think this is a fitting proposal for this site. And you have the plan in front of you, 46 units, 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units with a community center in one of the buildings that will have a common room with TVs, a property management office on site, laundry facilities, and then ample parking, play area, stormwater best management practice on site. Happy to answer any questions about the plans. And then this is an image of existing property we have in Cornelius, North Carolina. So a very similar kind of look with the brick and vinyl. And I think this is my final slide, so I'm just happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions for Ms. Stern?
The conditions proposed by staff amenable to the applicant?
Yes.
You said you were gonna own it, you were gonna plan to keep, you're gonna retain ownership after you build it?
Yes.
Is that what you do everywhere else?
Yes.
What percentage do you build and then sell it? I mean, how often do you turn over properties?
I haven't been with the company that long, but the plan is to own it indefinitely.
I just was asking because I'm, a year, 10 years.
No. Very, very long term.
That's her business model.
Yes.
Where's your company out of?
We're based in Cary, North Carolina.
Other questions?
Could you give a rental price on this, on an apartment here? I mean, what do you think? Kind of
There'll be a workforce housing, so sort of middle, like, I don't know exactly what they'll be, but 600 to 800, maybe up to 1,000, but not luxury prices.
Okay, middle range type thing.
Exactly.
Other questions? Thank you, Ms. Stern.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay. It's your turn.
Okay, do I need to come forward?
You do? And I'd like for you to print your name on the little sheet there, just so we can transcribe it properly from the audio tape. And then introduce yourself on the microphone for us and tell us what you need to tell us.
All right. Mr. Mayor and council and everybody else, hello. I'm Vivian Hughes. I live on Spring Street, and I do have some questions. First of all, the building, excuse me, 853 is going to be facing Salisbury. Okay. Is that correct?
Ms. Hughes, if you will direct your question to Mr. Nuttall, and Mr. Nuttall will either answer it or refer to the applicant. And
okay.
All right.
All right. I just want to first of all be sure that the building is going to be facing Salisbury. Is that correct? All right, and it has,
I'm sorry, I hate to keep interrupting.
go right ahead.
Explain that when they give us a site plan, I'll explain. When they give us a site plan, that's the way it has to be built. They
All
can't
right.
go in and say, oh, well, let's turn this one around this way, and let's do this, and let's do that. We approve the site plan, and that's what they build.
And Mr. Mayor, if I could, just to make sure there's no confusion, if you look at building number 2, which is the building to the left there, that is clearly oriented with parking in front towards East Salisbury Street. Building 1, which is the building to the right there, would be oriented in a western, facing west, again with parking directly in front of that unit. So you will have one building oriented towards Salisbury Street and one on the eastern side of the property orienting.
Number 1 will run away from the street.
Correct.
All right, and I noticed that you did not mention anything about the power plant that's located on Spring Street. You did mention about water being available to the building, but right across from where I live, there is a power plant, and right beside me are several lines going all the way from Spring Street down to Coleridge, another group of apartment buildings. Those are low rent. I understand from the amount of rent that's going to be charged, these buildings will not be low rent. I'm glad to hear that. But I am concerned about the poles and the wiring that is between my house and the construction and the building site that you have. Are you planning to do anything about those poles or anything?
I don't want to speak for the applicant too much on here, but the development will have to accommodate that existing infrastructure. And if you look at the aerial on the screen, those lines leading to that station are at the far northern portion of the property. Those would not be
Yes, they are.
impacted by the project. The trees just to the south of there, a lot of those will be maintained, and then you will have a parking lot. So there is no impact to that station or that infrastructure.
So a parking lot is going to be under all of that wiring? Is that what I'm hearing?
It'd be close to it, but not under it,
Okay.
according to the site plan.
You can see, this is a better illustration. Those power lines are to the
Excuse me.
north there.
I have keratoconus, a visual problem. I can't really make that out. But I understood what you were saying, and that was good for me.
Trevor, you want to show her this plan?
Oh, I have,
The parking lot's 120 feet from the power lines at the closest.
okay, I'm hearing you. All right, so I don't have to.
tell you, when that power substation shuts down for a fallen tree or whatever, knocks it out, half Asheboro goes out.
Yes, that's correct.
Most of us are without power.
My next question is access. Access will not be on Spring Street, is that correct?
Yes, Mayor, that's correct.
That is correct.
Well, I think I'm done. But I did remember reading that the council may make an approval based on some changes, not changes, but recommendations. So I'm going to just put forth a recommendation here. One of them, since the traffic is not going to be on that street, okay, fine. Well, you know what? I don't think I have any recommendations because I think you've answered everything. No parking is going to interfere with the lines. No traffic from this building, these buildings. It's going to be 2 buildings, correct?
2 buildings.
From those buildings are going to be up and down Spring Street. It's a dead-end street anyway, and it's a narrow street. It really wouldn't be able to accommodate it.
And that's the purpose of our procedure when the applicant and builder submits a site plan. like you're looking at, like we've had on the screen. Our people review that site plan to make sure it meets all of our regulations and safety codes and whatnot. And then the purpose of this public hearing is to address neighbor concerns. And if we've answered all your questions through the conditions that you heard her, Mr. Bell ask her earlier if her boss accepted the conditions, those are conditions that our planning department put on this. No RV.
Yes.
You don't wanna be looking out your back door at somebody's 35-foot
No.
motorhome.
I don't.
So, we do a lot of things to enhance the neighborhood through our zoning department.
And also, I heard him say something about putting a partition between the fencing. His,
That was on a prior case, I think.
oh, I thought I heard it for this one.
I think he said is the natural buffering on
Yeah, there's a
either
buffer.
side.
Okay.
Because end of his property aligns right
Trevor,
with
can
mine.
Northern tree line.
Can you flip back to the one that shows the overhead of the site plan, please? All right, that blue hatch line there going
Nice.
around on the left and the right, that will be natural vegetation.
All
And
right.
Can't cut in there.
they cannot cut there. They have to keep that. So that will give you a natural protection there.
Just to be clear, there may be some, that's intended to be either preserved or new plantings.
replanted.
Consistent with the city's requirements. Those areas, that is the strictest planting yard required because it's apartments next to single-family homes. So, there will be a combination of new plantings installed, and preservation. The applicant will have the option to do fences or walls, in addition to plantings.
Oh, but that's
And
an
you see it
option.
goes almost
Have a
up to the
requirement.
power lines.
The ordinance does provide options,
That's the tree line.
to the applicant, but it'll be the densest protected yard that the city requires.
Is there any way we can make it a requirement
It is a
instead of an
requirement.
option?
It is.
You said option.
They have a different option for different type buffers, but.
They have the option to do either or, but the buffer itself is a requirement.
And one of the issues, there is quite a bit of grading that will occur on this property. There are a series of retaining walls that will have to be constructed. It's tough, I think, at this point to make too many commitments in terms of what is the most effective way to provide that protection to the adjacent owner. So it would be difficult at this point because all of the grading has not been designed to know precisely where a fence may be, where a retaining wall would be. It will be the densest yard that the city requires.
Once they get in there and do their grading and finish out their construction, they may decide the best course of action is to replant everything, and that is, how wide is that, Trevor? The buffer there, how wide is it?
It looks like 20, in some areas well, in every area it's at least 15 feet, which is the city's, width
Minimum.
for a type D screen. So at least 15 feet.
So, and you might notice, that buffer goes almost back to the power lines.
All right. Well, I think I'm done. Thank you, sirs.
Thank you. Quite welcome, Ms. Hughes. Okay, next, anybody else? Hello, Mr. Kemp.
Hello there, Mr. Smith and the remainder of the council. I got here late. I'd like to ask Trevor one question. Trevor, did y'all discuss what DOT had written up for this site? They listed 3 items. First one was they want to move the drive down 100 feet, which would be going to the southeast.
He did discuss that.
You did? And also the new site plan for the new arrangement for Salisbury, Dublin Road, and some of 42.
Yes, sir, that's the reason for this amended plan was based on the latest NCDOT
Oh.
highway plans.
That's fine.
Anything else, Mr. Kemp?
No, sir.
Thanks for being here. I saw you coming, almost closed doors.
Well, thank you.
All right, is there anyone else in the room that would like to address this request? Okay, council, what are your wishes? Oh, I do have one question. Who repaints a Bible verse on the rock?
So it's a church group that does it, or a men's group. I don't
Do we know?
It says at the bottom, I think, it used to say. No, I think it just.
It's not one of you three. Well, I have grown up reading that Bible verse. I can't tell you what it says now, but I ride by there 2 or 3 times a day, and it's been there as long as I can remember.
Current version Romans.
All right. Council?
Mayor, based on the consistency statement provided by staff and a favorable recommendation from the planning board, I move we approve this request together with the recommended conditions that were proposed by staff and amenable to the applicant.
We have a motion by Mr. Bell to approve with the stated conditions that have been accepted by the representative of the developer. Do I have a second?
Second.
I'm sorry.
Second.
Way down there.
Yeah, way back in the corner. That's right.
Mr. Cogden is the second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion approved. Ms. Stern, tell your employers welcome to Asheboro.
Thank you. We're
Look forward to working with you.
We look forward to getting this project online.
Thank you.
Be careful going home.
Yep, sure.
All right, 11C is, I will open a legislative hearing on case number RZ 24-05.
Thank you, Mayor. This case has been properly advertised and noticed. However, prior to the March Planning Board meeting, the applicant did give us a request to continue this item to the Planning Board's May meeting, and therefore, this application is asked to be continued to your May 9th meeting to allow the Planning Board to make a recommendation.
May I have a motion to continue this request to the May 9th council meeting?
Mayor, I move we move this request to our May 9th council meeting.
Have a motion by Mr. Burks. Ms. Hughes, you did fine.
Oh, thank you.
It's not easy standing up here in front of all this crowd. All right, so I have a motion by Mr. Burks. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Heath. All in favor of granting a continuance to May 9th, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Continuance is granted. Item 11D is, I will open a legislative hearing on case number RZ 24-06. And this is an application for property located on the east side of Clover Street at Plummer Street for a vehicle storage facility.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a conditional zoning request. I've just distributed the site plan for this application. It is a simple site plan, but it is a pretty straightforward request here. The applicant on the application is Mr. Gary Morris, the property owner. We're looking at property on Clover Street, just south of Plummer Street.
Michael,
Michael, will you hit the air?
push it down a little bit, starting to warm up in here, sorry.
Won't increase our carbon footprint.
This is a property that's presently zoned B2 General Commercial. The request is to move it into our first industrial zoning district to allow specifically a vehicle towing storage facility to be built consistent with this plan. There's one parcel ID involved with this request, just over 3/10 of an acre, presently undeveloped property. You can see all the red on this map is the commercial corridor along North Fayetteville Street. The yellow area, which this parcel generally abuts to the south, is existing residentially zoned property. Of note, some of those land uses to the south include church-related activities, but there is also more of an existing legal non-conforming industrial or warehouse facility southwest of the subject parcel. Our property we're looking at this evening is identified with the letter A. Adjacent adjoining properties are identified with those other letters. You do see some existing conditional zoning I-2, which is just north across Plummer Street from this request. Approval this evening would put this property into an industrial district and make it purple as well. You look at topography and utilities. We do have utilities in the vicinity. However, there is no structure proposed here this evening. There is no public utility request necessary related to this application. It is a fenced compound for Mr. Morris's vehicle towing business. Look at the aerial, and if you're familiar with this area, there are similar motor vehicle repair and maintenance operations that are in this neighborhood. You can see one to the east, and as you go west along Plummer Street, there are some other businesses engaged in vehicle services. That long rectangular building just left of our parcel here is a property that is, while residentially zoned, is and has been used in a non-residential manner for many years. So the map makes it look like this is abutting residentially zoned property and uses, but there are in fact many commercial and other industrial uses present. We are looking at towards the subject property as seen from Clover Street. In your report, we did note that at this location on Clover Street, the roadway is neither maintained by the city nor NCDOT. As you go back towards Plummer Street from this picture, or to the north, NCDOT does maintain that segment of Clover Street. So in essence, this segment of that right-of-way is being maintained by the users of the roadway, and we've discussed that with Mr. Morris. We're now looking the other direction along Clover Street towards Plummer at the portion of the roadway that is NCDOT maintained. I do want to point out that the adjacent parcel to the north, if you looked at the adjoining property map, is also owned by Mr. Morris. And in fact, we talked about of his two properties, what might be the most reasonable location for this yard. I think we both agreed that the southernmost parcel was the best fit based on his operation. But he does own that property to the north as well. There is an existing dwelling that is just across Clover at Plummer Street. One of the reasons we talked about moving that operation to the southernmost lot was to separate it from a potential conflict with a residential occupant of that home. We're now looking on Plummer Street. I believe this is westward, which is north of the subject property, and we have a view back towards North Fayetteville Street along Plummer, again north of the property. Real quickly, Property is within the city limits. We provide city services. In this case, it'll be police, fire, garbage, typical services, minus the utility need at this point. Again, Clover Street, for a distance, is maintained by the state. Otherwise, maintenance ends. There is a clear sign out there that indicates where the state maintenance ends. And again, if there are impacts to that roadway from users, it'll be up to those users to make sure that roadway is addressed. The use is a vehicle towing storage facility. That is what's proposed. It's defined in number 3 there. Of interest, that several years ago, this would have been permitted in the existing commercial zoning district. But several years ago, the city code was amended to require this type of use to be entirely within an industrial district versus a general commercial or retail district. Looking at that site plan, we point out that there is a 10-foot setback off all property lines for where the containment area will start. There is a 7-foot high fence identified, which will have black privacy slats, evergreen trees no more than 10 feet apart, and 15 shrubs on the southern and western sides of the property. Mr. Morris's intent is to preserve existing vegetation on 2 of the boundaries and to install plantings along the street and along the southern boundary. Under number 5 is the current definition of the B2 General Commercial District. You can see what that's intended to do. Again, this is a move into more of a light industrial district. Touched on number 6. There's the intent, number 7 of the industrial district. There's number 9, kind of the outline of when the city changed its development standards to require an industrial district for this type of operation. Tough to see at this level, but I've already described what the yard will contain. This is a case where the land development plan does call for commercial development, so there is some inconsistency with the application and the plan, but we think this is a sensible deviation given the roadway condition and the location of the property. Overall, we believe there's 5 goals. Tend to support the request, 2 to be negative. We have discussed with Mr. Morris conditions A through H there that are intended to make sure that the project is built per the plan and complies with the city code. There is a condition related to outdoor lighting, which is indicated to be pole mounted. We do want to ensure the light trespasses is avoided off of the property, especially in light of the residential dwelling in close proximity. Otherwise, those conditions are pretty standard. This does come to you with a favorable recommendation from both the staff and the planning board. We recognize that the property is identified for commercial use in our plan, but given the surrounding land uses, the light industrial district is reasonable for the property. So therefore, we do recommend approval of this request.
Is the applicant here?
Yes, sir, the applicant is here.
Would the applicant like to address council? It's your prerogative.
You need me up here?
Introduce yourself, sign the sheet.
Gary Morris. I've been towing here in Asheboro City for almost 30 years. And people come through here and wreck their cars, and they need somewhere to put them until we can get them to a shop they need to go to, and that's pretty much what we do.
Mr. Morris, do you agree to comply with the proposed conditions that have been set forth?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you gonna park your vehicles there? I understand, or are you gonna start putting wreck, are you talking about?
Just a wreck, yeah, until we, the insurance company usually comes and, looks at them and decides if they can be fixed or taken to a shop.
So that's gonna be your primary use?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir. Is anyone in the audience who would like to address council regarding this request? This is your lucky night. Okay, we'll move to deliberative phase, and I will ask the council what their wishes on this request.
Mayor, based on the consistency statement provided by staff and the explanation of its deviation from the land development plan. I move we approve the consistency statement and the rezoning request, subject to the conditions enumerated by staff and acceptable to the applicant.
Have a motion by Mr. Bell to approve the request with the stated conditions which the applicant has agreed to accept. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Swears. All in favor, discussion, sorry. Past my bedtime. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Good luck. Okay, Mr. Noble, you gonna introduce, Ross Holt?
Yes, sir. This is a scheduled hearing date for an application to landmark property at 115 South Fayetteville Street. In your packets is the draft ordinance for your consideration following tonight's public hearing, as well as a resolution from the Historic Preservation Commission that recommends the requested designation for the building. In the packet, there's also a very detailed report that describes the property and why it should be considered for landmarking. The hearing has been properly advertised. I'll now ask Mr. Ross Holt to come to the podium and present a summary of the application and recommendations.
Thank you, Ross.
All right, well, I'm pleased to bring you this landmark designation recommendation tonight. And since you have one new council member since the last landmark designation, I'll do a quick refresher, a very quick refresher on the commission's role and your role in these cases. The Randolph County Historic Landmark Preservation Commission was established by the county commissioners under general statutes. Well, it's now 160D, it used to be 160A. Article 9 in 2008 to serve as the county's official body to identify, preserve, and protect the county's historic landmarks and to educate the public about those resources and historic preservation in general. We are headquartered at the library. We have 9 members appointed by the county commissioners, 3 at large, 1 representing the county, that's me, and 5 representing each of the commissioner districts, or 1 representing each of the 5 commissioner districts. By intergovernmental agreement, we serve as the landmark commission for each municipality. The proposed local historic landmarks are recommended by the Landmark Commission to the governing board of the jurisdiction in which the landmark is located for designation by ordinance. Landmark designation has some tax benefits for the private property owners, but prevents them from making significant changes to the landmark without approval from the commission. Currently, we have 30 historic landmarks. The 30th was added Monday night by the commissioners, the Dr. Charles Phillips House out in Tabernacle at Fuller Mill. There are 13 in Asheboro, including this building, the Sunset Theater, the Acme McCreary Complex, recently designated the gym, and others, some private residences too. And we're here tonight to recommend designation of the Randolph Savings and Loan Branch Bank Building, 115 South Fayetteville Street. Obviously, it is the dominant, iconic building in downtown Asheboro, and it's nominated for designation by the property owner, Al LaPrade. We are grateful to private property owners for coming forward and nominating their properties. We've gotten all the low-hanging fruit, all the public buildings, all the public sites, and there are a lot of places that need to be recognized that are on private property. So we were really encouraging private property owners to come forward with that. So the Randolph Savings and Loan Building was built in 1963, designed by Alvis George for the firm of J. Hyatt Hammond, with support from intern Kemp Mooney and engineer Walter Premaps. Of course, Alvis studied at North Carolina State in the 1950s, which was a hotbed of modernism.
Go Pack.
Go back where?
To the Final Four.
He was influenced directly by internationally important architects like Frank Lloyd Wright, Walter Gropius and Mies van der Rohe, who were among the visiting lecturers at State's program. He's designed many of Asheboro's mid-century buildings, including the library, the Wachovia Bank, South Asheboro Middle School, the People Savings and Loan Building, and he was a key architect in the master plan of the North Carolina Zoo. The Randolph Savings and Loan is included as a contributing resource in the downtown Asheboro Historic District, which is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. The landmark designation report by Heather Fernbach of Fernbach History Services, which I would characterize as epic. All of her reports are. It concludes that the building possesses the 7 qualities of integrity: location, setting, feeling, association, design, materials, and workmanship from its period of significance necessary for local historic landmark designation. We send these off to the State Historic Preservation Office. They get a mandatory 30-day comment period. And their job is really to confirm that the report gives the commission and the governing board enough information to make a determination. They went a step further this time, and their National Register Coordinator, Jeff Smith, said in a separate comment, as stated in the report, the building possesses all 7 aspects of integrity and holds special architectural significance. Already a contributing resource to the National Register listed downtown Asheboro Historic District, this building also warrants local landmark designation. The designation boundary is the 1-acre lot and includes the parking deck. Designation also includes some interior features. Now, this is new to us, and it may be a first for the Landmark Commission. We're primarily concerned with exterior appearance, but we can consider interior features. And Heather recommended we do that. Al agreed. And in this case, the interior, some of the interior is as much of a signature of the building as the exterior is. The poured terrazzo floors, the central staircase, some wall paneling, and that is outlined on pages 29 and 30 of the report. It's not all the interior, it's just certain elements. The report's exhaustive. I don't need to say much more. So the Randolph County Historic Landmark Preservation Commission recommends to you the Randolph Savings and Loan Branch Bank Building at 115 South Fayetteville Street for designation as a local historic landmark.
Any questions of Mr. Holt? Thank you, sir. I appreciate your work with the commission. Always. Mr. LaPrade, is there any reason you would like to speak to the council regarding this request?
To not keep you further from your bedtime.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Anybody have any questions, or I'll entertain a motion if there is one.
Mayor, I move we adopt a resolution recommending the landmark designation of the Randolph Savings and Loan Association Branch Bank Building by reference.
I have a motion by Mr. Bell. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Burks. Any discussion?
Could we have just a brief report on where we're at and get started work on the building? I mean,
And all was still tied up with National Park Service, part 2 of the application.
okay.
It's a drawn-out process.
It is that. No other questions? All in favor of approving this particular property for the local historic registry based on the recommendation by the commission, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Nolan, I believe you're up again.
Last time, sir.
Huh?
That says last time for me, I believe, tonight.
You're gonna request council authorization to proceed with certain municipal infrastructure improvements in downtown.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. You have previously heard that we have been working towards a solution to improve solid waste collection in the downtown area by establishing a new centralized location for disposal. Property owned by Downtown Asheboro has been previously identified as a suitable location for this new collection area. We've discussed this with the council in general terms and with Ms. Addie Corder, DAI's executive director, who also has expressed an interest, along with her organization, in facilitating improved collections for downtown. The first and an important step in this project is to move forward with the establishment of a public right-of-way that would provide the needed access to the new collection site from Fayetteville Street. So in your packets and on the screen, which is a little difficult to see, there is a survey plat that shows the area of this public right-of-way that would be dedicated and ultimately maintained by the city should the council take the necessary steps for this project. To make it a little simpler, I did include a conceptual rendering of the project. It does include the proposed reconfiguration of Downtown Asheboro Inc.'s property. That would allow the city to build this collection site, which is four partially underground solid waste collection bins, along with room for a grease collection bin as well. What we're asking for tonight is only your authorization for the city manager to sign the survey plat, which was previously up on the screen, which would identify the city's intention to dedicate right-of-way that's necessary, and also identify our intention to maintain that short segment of roadway as a public right-of-way. Part of this proposed right-of-way, you may see from the plat, is already owned and controlled by the city. It's part of the city's recreation parcel. The other portion of what would be this proposed public right-of-way is already a 10-foot recorded alley, and that's indicated on the plat. Should the council authorize Mr. Ogburn to sign this survey plat next month, we would expect to ask the board to authorize us to pursue acquiring what is parcel 2 on the survey in order to construct the new collection site. There would be a resolution related to the dedication and acceptance of right-of-way also expected at that meeting. Our offering as a part of this project would be the city's improvement to Lot 2 by way of this collection site. No additional money is expected to be exchanged as part of the contemplated acquisition of Lot 2. So I'm happy to answer any questions. In essence, this is really the first step in us taking the necessary steps so we can construct the new collection site.
And take the things off.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. Yes, the solid waste collection hut will be removed after this project is complete.
Can Master 1000.
Has served its purpose.
Can collector 1,000 or something. Jeff, you're comfortable in me not recusing myself?
Yes, because, and the reason being, both you and Councilmember Heath, in this particular case, the proposed street's is stopping at the Schwartz property on that end, as far as what's actually being dedicated. Secondly, the part that's being dedicated is already identified on the DAI side, as far as a 10-foot strip. So it's not part of DAI's property already. The part here that we're talking about for this initial step will be for the city, saying it's dedicating its additional property for the street. There will be a different answer to the question in the May meeting when we talk about actually asking for permission to acquire property from DAI. that point, both of you will need to be recused.
And this is part of the driveway to the recreation center already,
Correct.
right?
Yes, sir.
I mean, yeah,
There's a permanent easement going up to my building.
yeah.
It stops at my property line.
But but the city's not going to use that portion that goes up to your property.
Stop at the Schwartz.
Stop at the
Lot.
Schwartz. Yes, sir.
Gotcha. All right. Questions of Mr. Noble? I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move we approve the request to proceed with the infrastructure improvements as enumerated.
I have a motion by Mr. Bell. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Heath. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. You done for tonight, are you? All right, item 14. This is a pending lease, on the McCreary Ballpark, by one of the tenants, and we're real close to having that put together. We just have not finalized the draft yet, so, I'm gonna ask, for a motion to continue this to the next meeting,
May 9.
May 9.
Mayor, I move we approve this consideration of the proposed leasing agreement until May 9th.
I have a motion by Mr. Bell to continue this discussion to May 9 meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Moffett. Discussion, questions?
That tournament that's going on over there.
There's a high school Easter tournament going on
Yeah,
right now.
Yeah, who's in charge of all that, or who's
The
supervising?
zookeepers.
Okay. Is that gonna be addressed in the upcoming contract?
Yeah.
I mean, are we gonna just do ball games or that stuff? Because I'm assuming there's
Right.
money being paid to go in there. There's no, is it open, free? Okay.
Yeah, I think they didn't say there was
No, just told
no entry fee, it's just whoever they can get, whatever local high school teams they can get to, no entry fee for the teams.
Right,
The people that are coming to watch them play are paying.
okay.
Right.
And that all goes, that's currently all going to them, to the zookeepers?
Yeah. I suppose.
And we're cleaning,
They're paying
We're cleaning up.
$180 a game for referees and
yeah,
figure it out any way you want. But we'll have a lease for you to consider before next meeting.
okay.
Real beneficiaries of high school.
And that those, Jonathan's not here, but those aren't conference games.
Right, I got you, yeah.
Asheboro High may be playing out there,
Williams.
but they're.
Well, I know it's a special tournament, similar to what the Courier Tribune did.
Right.
Yeah,
It's just
That-
baseball,
Burlington
but I was just-
Williams is one of the teams, Uora Charter is one of the teams. I've been out there a couple of times.
Asheboro played at one time.
And that's fine, I just was meaning if there's money being generated, we need to define who's getting it and how we're doing it. I mean, instead of just turning over our field.
Yeah, we met on all that today and got all the events out there and who's who and what's what.
Okay.
Nobody left in a helicopter.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to continue this. All in favor of approving the continuation to the May 9th meeting, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. I know that said Jonathan Sherman, but we sent Jonathan home because it's the only reason he'd be sitting here all night. And I was part of the meeting, John was part of the meeting, we figured we could relay what needed to be relayed, for a continuation. Okay.
Jonathan gets plenty of nights too.
Item 15, Jeff, you have, for council action, a resolution to initiate that annexation process.
Yes, sir. And you have a plat at your places that describes the area proposed for annexation. You will recognize it. It's the area that was acquired by the city in December of '23 for the proposed Municipal Emergency Operations Center and third fire station. There will be some street work involved on that property. While it sits contiguous to existing primary city limits, it's the staff recommendation to bring that into the city itself. And it will be, and we will be able to bring it into the primary city limits because of its location. It's important from the infrastructure improvement side because the street department is not supposed to be operating on streets that are beyond the corporate limits of the city. This will address that issue. And you would normally get this coming to you as a petition from the property owner. The general statutes recognize it would be cumbersome to ask the city to try to petition itself, so the general statutes do authorize the city council to pass the resolution, starting the process. The resolution also in front of you, which I would recommend adoption by reference if you do want to annex the property, starts the process, authorizes me to work with the clerk to publish legal notice of the intent to have a hearing at your regular May meeting, and then for the city council to, at that point, adopt the annexation ordinance to bring it into the city. If you have to answer any questions.
That sounds so royal, it's like we're in agreement with ourselves.
Matter how we get there.
Yeah, we were not able to get this intersection, the intersection with Crestview there inside the city. You couldn't do that.
The issue with the intersection is that the city, some cities played a little fast and loose at one point in history on using rights of way to try to annex territory and try to say, well, we're just gonna bring it in. The city doesn't own that, and so therefore the only thing that the city can petition for is what it actually owns in fee simple. Now, you will notice that the line goes across at the edge of the intersection, and the reason being, there is the court case, there's some case law out there that if the city is on both sides of the street is inside the city. So the line is drawn to make it clearer for public safety purposes and first responders when they go out, who's to be dispatched. The primary corporate limits are on the east and the west sides of the Zoo Parkway where we've drawn the lines at. So that portion of Zoo Parkway in the right of way is proposed to be brought in. And being right at the intersection, it gives an easy landmark for where you're in the city and where you're not in the city.
Neighborhood right here.
That's in the city. That's in the city.
Already. Okay.
I believe it's Greensboro that, and to be corrected, but I'm pretty sure it's the southern loop, 840 all the way around it. They annexed the entire right-of-way around for the entire loop. And it had to do not only with the law enforcement revenue, but any water and sewer, they have a contiguous scenario after they did that. It's a very funny shaped continuity and their contiguousness. But
All right, questions?
It just seems to me that's gonna cause more confusion, because the road is getting busier and busier there with the Zooplex, and so there's gonna be some accidents there on that intersection. And so, I mean, what part of the intersection, I mean, it could be a city, it just adds confusion. If, like this, we could have the whole intersection in the city, then you report it as being in the intersection, and we know that Asheboro City goes to it. So, I mean, I don't know.
The good news on that is that one, if you take action to ultimately annex it in, the plat's recorded, and Randolph County Communications has the representation there of where exactly the line is. The other thing is a practical matter. The city police have jurisdiction for 1 mile beyond the corporate limits. The fire department is in a position to where they can render mutual aid. So if someone is there and there are city units in the vicinity who can help, they will. They can provide that assistance, so it's sort of the compromise we're taking. As a pragmatic matter, the city can respond to the intersection, particularly once the fire station is there. If it happens right in front of them, they'll deal with it.
We'll send a county fire station all the way across there at a wreck there when the our fire station's right there, I mean,
The city fire department would respond, would deal with it until, unless and until they needed mutual aid to come in. But having said that, it's still us being respectful of the fact that there is a specific provision saying the city cannot be petitioning using the claim of right-of-way as a basis for petitioning. We did use the fact that that we would be on both sides to claim what we felt like we could and still be consistent with the text of the general statutes.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions?
I agree you on APD, that's 2 to 3 minutes. Highway patrol will be 45 minutes to an hour. County's just a toss-up as who's where in a great old big county.
All right. You need a motion.
Yes, sir.
Mayor, I move we approve the resolution stated intent for annexation by reference.
Have a motion by Mr. Bell to approve by reference. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Swears. Discussion. All in favor of passing this by reference, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Carries. You got on your agenda there, you have special meetings and regular meetings coming up. Special meeting Friday, April 12th at the Rec Center. Led by School of Government Adjunct Professor Rebecca Jackson to work on our strategic priorities.
Mayor, and you received, I forwarded you the survey from Ms. Jackson. If you've not filled it out yet, please do, and let's get it back to her so we can get, so she can get prepared for next, the 12th.
All right.
Thank you.
That's next Friday, isn't it?
Right, yes, sir.
All right, special meeting on Thursday, May 2nd at Council Chambers is a budget workshop for water sewer fund.
Now, Mayor, at that workshop, in years past, we've done the whole budget. This year, we're gonna break it into the utility side, water and sewer, and the general fund side. There's a lot going on. Michael and I have been to a lot of regional meetings. We're gonna use that time to talk to you about what we see in the future, and how we plan for that coming out of the strategic planning session and the workshop we had 2 weeks or a month ago, whatever, so.
All right.
Those will be, there'll be special meetings of the council. The public's welcome to attend. It won't be a formal or as an intense meeting as tonight. It'll be a lot of give and take with the staff.
Special meeting on Saturday, May 4th, that's the grand opening and dedication of the Zoo City Sportsplex at 11 o'clock.
The council, mayor, and our special guests and dignitaries will be receiving an invitation, so watch your mail as that day gets closer. Our friends in the media will be receiving one too.
The last parking lot's paid.
Yeah, the last parking lot's paid.
Or the last one we have right now. We already need 2 more.
Yep, they got those paid today, yesterday. Okay, regular city council on May 9th. Special meeting on Thursday, May 16th at the council chambers. Budget workshop for general fund.
And Mayor, we appreciate the council working with us. I would like to say it, Debbie Reeves, our finance director, will be having a special family event in that 3rd week of May. Her son Christopher, who graduate of Asheboro High School, undergraduate degree, NC State University, having his big national championship run for the first time. He's going to graduate medical school. So she will be gone the next week. So we're very proud of him and very excited for you, Debbie.
Thank you.
And he's a really fine man. You should be proud.
Thank you.
Regular council meeting on Thursday, June 6th, and then last, a special meeting on Thursday, June 27th to adopt the budget and approve year-end budget amendments. Okay. The Jazz Fest at Sunset Theater is going on this weekend, starting at 7 o'clock Friday and Saturday, is that right? Youth Theater at Sunset Theater presenting Willy Wonka Jr. on April 11th and 14th. Last Hour Bluegrass at Sunset Theater, April 19th. Zoo City Street Fest, which is a zoo celebration downtown. They're celebrating 50 years of the zoo, and in conjunction with their downtown restaurants and a little bit of a street festival on April 20th from 5 to 8. And the South Atlantic Conference Baseball Series Championship, May 10th and 11th at McCrary Park. Interesting story, South Atlantic Conference was, they do 2 years at a time with contract, and they were talking to the zookeepers about next year as the first of 2 years, and called them back last week, a week or so back, and said, how would you like to have it this year? So this is a last minute deal, and will be big exposure for the McCrary Park, and we're trying real hard to get all of that wrapped up. Lord knows it'd be nice to get that finished. Is that it?
Mayor, don't forget your prayer breakfast.
Prayer breakfast on May the 2nd at AVS. If you need tickets, council, if you need tickets for you and your spouse, you or your spouse, you
Let Joanne and or Tammy know.
Let Tammy know or Joanne know. John's secretary right now is Tammy, and she's doing a good job.
And we have heard from Joanne. She, her second surgery went quite well. And she hopes to be back about, keeping her fingers crossed, about 1st of May. So she'll be in time to round up all those tickets.
All right.
It's wild around here when they run out of tickets and people want to go. Is it been announced, Mayor? Can you tell them who the speaker is?
Yeah. All right, is Tammy sending out the invitations to all the elected officials?
Yes,
She get
sir.
on that this week?
We got the file
Okay.
to do it, right?
The speaker this year for the prayer breakfast is North Carolina State former basketball player Alvin Battle, who lives in Trinity, Archdale.
He's been at several local events lately.
He is on the board at
appointed.
RCC, and he's adopted us as his new hometown and seems to be involved in various things. And
He's not hard to pick out of the crowd, is he?
we felt like this was good timing, and maybe it will be great timing to have a state basketball player speak to the prayer breakfast. And in addition to that, we have Jaquarius Standback, Asheboro High School standout, who signed with Appalachian as a little bit of an additional speaker to talk about the night. He got hurt, landed on his head, and got knocked out, and got hurt pretty seriously in their run to the championship. And he's going to talk a little bit about what a whole gym full of people praying for him meant to him. So it will be worthwhile, be a moving morning. The music will be by the First Baptist Church, I think.
They're good.
So looking forward to that. I can't think of anything else. Jill. Kelly?
Just want to recognize our police department and congratulations again to our new chief. The promotion ceremony was amazing with so many promotions that we had, and it's just a completely changed command team. So that was just exciting to be at. And go Wolfpack.
And you know
Women
what,
and men.
the most impressive part of it was with the promotions and the retirement, the building was full. You guys are well-respected by your fellow officers and your peers. There were highway patrolmen there were other people and family members. It was impressive to see, and congratulations, Robert, Chief Brown. You deserve it.
Number one, chief.
Look forward to working with you.
Got a promotion at home too.
Yeah, there's a story behind that.
Charlie?
Just echo what Kelly said, it's enjoyable to go back when we have a police event, seeing the number of former policemen show up and the camaraderie and the exchange and the friendship, the fellowship, it just, the blue goes deep, and we're well represented. And two, I want to give a shout out to David Hutchins and the city crews. I was riding down the road the other day and saw there was a pothole that was growing. I remember a year and a half ago, so I hit it late at night one night and called David, and it was fixed by lunchtime. So it's, the city crews do a great job.
They do. You know, it's interesting when we go to a police ceremony and you say, chief, and half the room turns around. We've had, what, 5 in the last 10 years?
Yeah.
11, 12 years? But you certainly deserve to be chief, and we're proud of you.
I actually appreciate that. Thank you, Mayor.
Clark?
Just, congratulations, Joey, Walker, John, go Pack.
That hurt. That hurts. That hurts.
It's easier when you write them a check.
Yeah.
Given your ranks, that is greatly appreciated.
Yeah, that's.
Clark?
Yeah. In the reverse, I have to sit through all the Tar Heel victories. Like Clark says, the baseball cap and tie I have, and the tie and baseball cap he have, cost $100,000. So there, it's well. You wear it, don't you?
With pride, with pride.
Walker.
Well, I have a minimum of 2 days of hope. I have 4 days of hope. I hope the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast is a ceremony of great joy and celebration as opposed to angst, but we will see. We look forward to being there.
Again, kudos to Chief Brown. He probably regrets giving me his phone number, but it's always good to see that nothing changes with service to the citizens when we transition from one chief to another. And that if people call and if you reach out to the chief, he'll either directly help or he'll put somebody in the right place to help. So thank you, and that's just, that's from you all the way down to the newest hire. I know that's the case, and I really appreciate all that you do for our citizens. Thank you.
Bill?
I don't have anything.
Well, since we're all talking about the promotions, the neat thing is the families, bringing all the families in there and seeing the kids, because ultimately that's what that's all about. And it was just, and the number one chief comment came from the family and that type stuff. But we do appreciate it, and we're here to support you. Thank you.
Well, unless there's something else to come before the group, we will call this meeting adjourned. Amber, thank you so much.